powers during lockdown. So since the meditation is not new for India, basically, since the world is now following the Namaste process while doing the social distancing and meditation also. If you read the newspapers and various news media, they are giving the interviews that meditation how far helpful for the containing the outbreak of this coronavirus. So in these times, this kind of workshop sure that will help us to maintain and negate our negative emotions. So for that, today we have speakers. First, the Dr. Humavi Khan, and she is also working on this and to publish one book on this particular topic. So her lecture and workshop will be useful for us. And then our respected Dean sir will join us. How he is keep motivating us while having these kind of corona outbreak as well as conducting so many events. So how he is keeping himself fit, by the using the meditation, etc. So I am inviting Dr. Humavi Khan ma'am to continue.
Thank you very much.
Harish. First of all, I would like to say my thanks to our Dean sir that when I have started doing meditation regularly for now it's 1.5 years. I'm doing it regularly. For 2 hours it's minimum one, and I can continue it for 4 hours or the 6 hours. And I'm just believing in the miracle power of the meditation. So I have shared my experience with our Dean sir, and when this pandemic started, I was worried about all the people, and I wanted to share that something should be given to the people so that they can be more relaxed. So I have asked our Dean sir that please ask everybody to do meditation. Then he asked me that please you should have a webinar on this. So I'm really very thankful to our Dean, Professor Sudeep Krishna, for providing me this opportunity on to speak on this topic of meditation. Though I really appreciate the opportunity. Though this topic, I have been learning and studying law and teaching law for years, but this topic, meditation, is has now become very close to my heart. And I'm also preparing to write a book on this. So I'm working on it. I hope soon I will share the book with you. So let's start how the stress is affecting our body and how the meditation can help us to deal with the stress. So Pragati, please put it on the full screen, the presentation.
We can see the presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much. As COVID-19 continues to spread, all of us are facing the challenges of an unknown, particularly difficult life situation. It affects all fields of our lives, from private to professional, and requires quick adaptation and acceptance. Physical isolation and the fear of an uncertain future can lead to strong emotions and increased anxiety. So in this webinar, I would like to introduce you to the power of meditation in managing mental health. Now, please change the slide. Now you can see there is a saying by Charles R. Swindoll, who says that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. So mainly our miseries are only 10%, but 90% times we are overreacting on the particular situation by thinking about the situation or anticipating the worst scenario in our mind. So we cannot control all things in our life, but we can learn to adjust our ways of thinking to make the best out of the situation. Learning to control our emotions and become more resilient is key when facing any challenging life situation. Stress is not a stranger. Stress affects us all. Please don't just stay on this slide. Just change the next one and be on it. And change when I say to change. So stress affects us all. You may notice symptoms of stress when preparing for exams, worrying about your career, disciplining your kids during busy times at work, while managing your finances, or while you are looking on the credit card bills, or while coping with a challenging relationship. Every time we are having some time limit or we are dealing with a task, we are dealing with the stress. Stress is everywhere. And while a little stress is okay, but too much stress can wear you down and make you sick, both mentally and physically. Now, please change the slide. Now, you see what happens to body. First, we should learn that what happens to body during highly stressful or threatening situations. When there is a threat, it may be in the form of imminent physical danger, or it may be in the form of a thought. Whenever there is a stressful situation, the body is having a defense mechanism, and its defense mechanism prepares itself to deal with the stress. Now, please change the slide. Now, you see this defense mechanism is known as fight or flight response of the body. Now you can see that our body is designed in such a manner to deal with the danger in our external environment. So if there is any danger or if there is any threat, our body is prepared to fight or flight. So we have two conditions, we have two choices. So either we can fight with the danger or you can run away from the scene. Now please change the slide. Now the fight or flight response, also known as the acute stress response, refers to physiological reaction that occurs in the presence of something that is terrifying, either mentally or physically. And that is very important because if there is an imminent danger, like physical danger, then our brain perceives the threat and sends the signal to the nervous system and prepares body for the threat. But at the same time, when the physical danger is important and it's causing a danger, any mental thought, it can also trigger the stress. The response is triggered by the release of hormones that prepare your body to either stay and deal with the threat or to run away to safety. Now change the slide. The term fight or flight represents the choices that our ancient ancestors had when they faced danger or threat in their environment. Because the primitive man, the major difficulty before the primitive man was for the survival. So they usually faced the danger or threat in their environment. They could either fight or flee from the threat. In either case, the physiological and psychological response to stress prepares the body to react the danger. Now you can see that fight or flight response, because in the primitive time we were designed to deal with the danger. So there were very dangerous animals at that time, and mainly the saber-tooth tiger and the big animals were there. So we were designed to protect ourselves from such kind of big threats. And the important thing is, as today we perceive any threat, our mind is perceiving that threat in the same manner, like there is a very dangerous animal and there is a threat to life. Now, please change the slide. Now, how does the fight or flight stress response work? Now, there are some emotions the emotions like fear, anxiety, anger, these emotions trigger stress hormones. They are different of stress hormones. So I'm just talking about some. The main, they are triggering the stress hormone, and the stress hormones like adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, and these hormones cause fight or flight response. Or we can also say that we are in the survival mode, like emergency situation. There is an emergency situation for the body, so body is prepared to deal with such emergency situation, which is triggered by the emotions like fear, anxiety, and anger. Now, when such emotions are there, these emotions generally do, like all the stress hormones, these stress hormones perform these functions to prepare, in order to prepare body to face the danger. Like blood flow to skeletal muscles increases, because now this is very important, that because we are in the mood to fight or to flight, in both the cases, our limbs are very important. So our hands and our feet, they become very important in order to protect ourselves. So most of the blood is flowing to the skeletal muscles, so we can use them while fighting, or we can use them for running. Then heart rate increases because the more power we require to deal with the danger. Intestinal muscles relax because now the digestion, which is a very important function, is no more important. Please remember this. The important functions, because this is an emergency period, this is an emergency time for the body. So the digestion or the other function, regular functions, are no more important, because now we can see in the lockdown time, there are only essentials supplies are allowed. So in emergency period, only the essential things are required, which are necessary to deal a particular danger. So intestinal muscles relax, pupils dilate so that we can see more clearly. Breathing rate increases, blood sugar level increases, and blood pressure in arteries increases. Any threat or danger is perceived by our brain. So when there is a danger and we perceive that threat or that situation as a danger in the form of an actual threat, or in the form of anxiety, anger, etc., then our nervous system responds to what it is perceived by the brain. So now please change the slide. Next one. Now, the autonomic nervous system, we have autonomic nervous system, and it is divided into two divisions. One is sympathetic nervous system, and another one is known as parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, these two nervous systems can control functions of the body in certain situations. So when we will discuss their function in brief. Now please change the slide. In response to acute stress, the body's sympathetic nervous system is activated due to the sudden release of hormones. So whenever there is an acute stress and when a threat is perceived by the brain, then brain is sending the signal to the sympathetic nervous system, and it is activated and it is releasing the hormones. The sympathetic nervous system stimulates the adrenal gland, which triggers the release of adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol hormone, which are main stress hormones. This results in an increase in heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing rate, etc. Change the slide. Now, the fight or flight response can happen by, there are two conditions. One, when there is a physical danger. So when there is a physical danger, in the face of an imminent physical danger, such as encountering a growling dog during your morning jog, if there is an imminent threat or immediate threat to your life or to your property, like suppose someone wants to rob you having a gun in his hand, then that immediate physical danger is perceived by brain as a threat, and it is sending the signal to the sympathetic nervous system, and the stress hormones are released, and we are in the fight and flight mode. So we are having the more power to save ourselves or to deal with the danger. But the important thing is that even when there is no physical danger, this entire system can be triggered by thought alone. And that is the important point. So if we are perceiving any situation as a danger for us, or a thought as a result of mere psychological thoughts, such as preparing to give a big presentation at school or work, preparing for the competitive exams, appearing in the exam, dealing with a person, or talking to a person you don't like. So suppose if somebody doesn't like his mother-in-law, then he is perceiving that threat as imminent danger. So, or if you don't like your boss, then you're perceiving that threat. If you don't like your parents, if you don't like your brother or your friend, then every time when you are having a thought, you are perceiving it as an imminent danger. All these people, all these incidents are just like a big animal that you are chased by a lion, and your body is preparing itself to deal with the danger. Now change the slide. So what happens when there is a danger? The mind gives command, you can see in the slide, mind gives command to the sympathetic nervous system that get the body ready for the stress, and it follows the order of the mind. The next slide, and it activates the different activities to prepare body to deal with the danger. So in a stressful condition, it's this nervous system making the heartbeats fast, breath breath is fast and shallow. Pupils of eye expand can make you sensitive to light so that you can see clearly. Gut becomes inactive, difficult to digest. Blood rushes to your skeletal muscles and away from your brain, making it hard to think clearly. That's why when we are in a stressful situation, our focus becomes narrow, and we are concentrating only on the problem, and we are unable to see beyond the problem, because this is the function of the stress hormone. Because there is uh, there is some situation, that there is very uh, big threat, and you should focus on that threat to deal with the danger. Hormones rush through your body, making you feel anxious, and it expends your energy. So you feel more energetic, or a rush of energy in your body. So you can see that when you are angry, then you feel some kinds of the energy in your body, more energy. Now please change the slide. Yes, the counterpart to the fight or flight response is the relaxation response, in which the body goes back to normal state. So once it is perceived by brain that the threat is over, the danger is over, then now it sends signal to the parasympathetic nervous system, and body is returning to its normal stage. And this normal stage is known as homeostasis, or we can say where the body is in its balanced state. After the danger is gone, it takes between 20 to 60 minutes for the body to return its balanced stage, depending upon the gravity of the threat. Please change the slide. Now the parasympathetic nervous system, when the mind perceives that there is no more threat, then it orders the parasympathetic nervous system, then restore the body to the normal condition. And it it starts working on restoring the body to the normal condition. Please change slide. Now the heartbeats it's making heartbeats in slow rhythmic pattern. Breaths is full and slow. Pupils of eye shrink. Gut is active. It helps you digest and absorb the nutrients from the body, from the food. Increased blood flow to gut, lungs, and brain. And hormones rush in, lifting your mood and helping you to relax. And now the body is trying to conserve your energy. So now the body is back to the normal stage, which is known as homeostasis. Now see that there are two pictures. We have two aspects of a nervous system. One is fight or flight mode, where the sympathetic nervous system works. So we are, when this mode is on, we are protecting ourselves from the danger. And then there is the normal stage, that is the parasympathetic stage, that we are resting and we are digesting our food. That means our body and brain both are doing their assigned work normally without any emergency situation. That like, it is just like that now this lockdown is lifted and there is no more corona fear or etc. And people are returning to their normal stage. Now please change the slide. And now you can see that in this slide, that sympathetic nervous system, as you can see, that sympathetic nervous system represents fight and flight mode. So when we are in the survival mode or we are in the fight and flight mode, that there are some emotions, there are some conditions which are caused to deal with the danger. Then we are feeling angry, and then as we feel angry, we feel anxious, we are more alert, and we are more focused on the problem. And parasympathetic nervous system, as you see, because we are in the relaxed stage, we are cool and calm. Then it is, we are having an attitude of live and let live. So we are not overreacting the situation, and we are not overreacting on the problems, and we are dealing them in a very cool manner. But this fight or flight response is not so bad. The fight or flight response plays a critical role in how we deal with stress or danger in our environment. Essentially, the response prepares the body to either fight or flee from the threat. So, but between remembering stressful experiences, this is important, please listen carefully, between remembering stressful experiences from the past and anticipating stressful situations coming up in your future, all these repetitive short-term stresses blur together into long-term stress. And now this long-term stress is causing harm to us. We are capable of turning on the stress response by thought alone. So this now we don't have to face dangerous animal, but welcome to the 21st century vision of living in survival mode 24/7, 365 days of the year. Please change the slide. Now see long-term stress. So we all are designed to face the short-term stress. All the organisms are designed. No organism in nature is designed to withstand the effect of long-term stress. Now, please change the slide. Now see some signs and symptoms of stress. So you can see that there are some effects of the short-term stress. And when the body is restored to the normal condition, they are not causing any problem. But if there is a long-term stress, this long-term stress is having an effect on the body, which may cause harm to the body. So these are some, it may be high blood pressure, headache, dizziness, excessive sweating, nervous indigestion, neck and back pain, rashes, allergies, ulcer, And all the lifestyle disorders, they are the effect of the long-term stress. In fight or flight mode, life-sustaining energy is mobilized so that body can either run or fight. But when there is no return, not a return to homeostasis, because you keep perceiving a threat again and again, vital energy is lost in the system. So see, suppose if you had an argument with a person, it may be your friend, your parents, or your spouse, or your boss, or your colleague at workplace. And if you are thinking about that argument again and again, and if you are discussing this thing with the people again and again, then you are reliving the same situation again and again in your mind. So when you are perceiving a threat again and again, vital energy is lost in the system. You have less energy in your internal environment for cell growth, repair, and healing, and the immune systems become weak. It is like living in a country where 98% of the resources go towards defense and nothing is left for schools, libraries, road buildings, and repair, communication systems, growing of food, and so on. So, and there is no enough food to feed the masses. So, entire communication system in our body between the cells, between brain and heart and the other organs, there is no more energy left to do perform all these functions. Your focus becomes narrow and you can't see beyond the problems. So in such a situation, when we are living a very stressful life, and especially in this time of the COVID-19, when we are facing lots of fears, like fear of the life of ourselves, fear the life of our loved ones, then the fear of the financial problems, there are so many fears right now. Then to deal such fears, now please change the slide. There is a tool to calm us in that condition. And believe me, the meditation is helping us to deal with such problem. This stress is long-term stress is affecting us, and majorly it is the cause of all the problems, all the health conditions we are facing today. There are countless myths about the and the misconceptions about the meditation today, which makes people think that it's a very difficult spiritual practice with prolonged sitting in the uncomfortable positions, and the goal is to create complete emptiness in mind. Approximately 50,000 to 60,000 thoughts are rushing through our minds daily. Our brains are overworking and multifunctioning and switches to an autopilot mode when actions are taken without thinking about them consciously. Research has shown that those who practice meditation regularly begin to experience changes in their response to stress that allow them to recover from stressful situations more easily and experience less stress from the challenges they face in their everyday life. Meditation affects the body in exactly the opposite ways that stress does. So by triggering the body's relaxation response, like by bringing us back to the homeostasis stage, it restores the body to a calm state, helping the body repair itself and preventing new damage from the physical effects of stress. It can calm your mind and body by quieting the stress-induced thoughts that keep your body's stress response triggered. Now, please change the slide. Now, there are some benefits of the meditation. Meditation helps us focus better on our everyday life and improves concentration. The goal of meditation is not to stop the mind, but instead to shift the attention. This helps to balance emotions in difficult times. Meditation can be approached in million ways, depending on what suits you, your goals, and your preferences. Please change the slide. And there are thousands of forms of meditation. Whatever form you are adopting is good. The important thing is you should look inside you. You should sit with yourself, because you are giving your energy to all the other things, but you are not sitting with yourself quietly. But there is some protocol of the meditation. These things should be followed for the better result. First, you need a quiet and peaceful place. The quiet, try to find a quiet and peaceful place where you are not distracted by people. It should not be noisy, and keep your mobile and electronic gadgets away from you so that you are not distracted by these. Posture is very important in meditation. It's not necessary that there should be a specific posture. You can comfortably sit on chair by putting your feet on the floor, or you may sit on the floor crossed legs in the traditional way. But the important thing is your spine must be straight and head held up straight. So you should be attentive. Your body must be relaxed, but your backbone must be straight. You can keep your eyes open or closed depending upon you. I will recommend that you should close your eyes, but it might be possible that suppose you are distracted by your thoughts. So first you can rehearse to focus on an object, to and gradually you will be able to close your eyes and think, uh, 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 doing the meditation. Now in meditation, focus on your breathing, the normal breathing. Like just focus on your breathing. Your breath are coming inside and going outside. Just focus on that. Don't try to regulate them. Don't try to control them. Just inhale and exhale naturally. And the duration of the meditation, I will recommend at least start with 10 minutes a day and gradually. So you may sit quietly by closing your eyes or open your eyes in a comfortable room, or at a comfortable place, and you are focusing on your breathing. If you want, you can listen some comfortable or relaxing soothing music. It's up to you, but loud music is not recommended. Your mind holds the power that you probably won't believe. The secret is simple. Just change the slide. The secret is simple. You possess the power and the means of unlocking it. Your conscious mind or thinking mind is just the very tip of a vast pyramid of knowledge and wisdom that is your subconscious mind. You believe me, we all have lots of knowledge. We all have all the potential to do anything in our life or to deal with anything in our life. And the best example is in this time of the pandemic, like there are people who have never exposed to these digital tools, and they are performing very well. So we all have the potential, but we are not aware about our potential. It is estimated that we use only 10 to 20% of our mind potential, with the great majority of our mind power remaining untapped. Tapping into your subconscious mind is the way to access this knowledge, and the most direct way to do that is to meditate. Meditation alters your brain patterns, changing them from the regular waking state of beta waves. We generally in the beta waves in the waking state, and that it's changed from the beta waves to alpha, theta, and delta waves, depending upon the time period of the meditation. Alpha is the first altered state, which is associated with light relaxation and is the beginning of the meditation process. In this state, you will begin to be able to access your subconscious mind. Problem solving becomes easier and solution deeper. As you progress with meditation, you will gradually be able to access even deeper layer of your consciousness, and the true power of your mind will be unlocked. Meditation is easy to learn and can be practiced by anyone. No special teaching, no special learning is required for that, only some few basic things. The practice of meditation has many other benefits as well, which have been studied extensively over the past few decades. Meditation leads to positive changes in your brain. It also causes the release of a whole range of beneficial brain chemicals, increasing your feeling of well-being, as well as improving your mood, learning capacity, and memory, amongst other things. When we use meditation properly, our brain starts to become more organized and more synchronized. In synchronized state, the brain can now send more coherent signals throughout the entire nervous system to the rest of the body. Everything starts to move in rhythm, working together. Instead of cacophony, now our brains, our bodies are playing a beautiful symphony. The end result is that we feel more whole, integrated, and balanced. As you progress, believe me, as you progress down the path of the meditation, you will surely wonder how could have survived so long, how you could have survived so long without it. So you can see some benefits of meditation as they are mentioned in the picture also. So it brings harmonies to your life, reduces stress and depression, improves focus and memory, regulate heart rate, balance emotions, increase happiness, increases immunity, and increases the energy. And please change the slide. A piece of final advice from me. Please change the slide, Pragati. The best way to start is to start. You see, don't think that we'll start it from tomorrow and this will be that thing or that thing. Just start it. And while you are doing the meditation, you may face some kinds of the resistance from your body, because when you are programmed in a certain manner, the body doesn't want to change. So the best way to start is to start right now. So if you are with me, we may have a meditation of 5 minutes. Just I can tell you how to meditate. Just don't do anything. No, nothing more is required,
Yes, ma'am.
because your video is off, your microphone is off, and in any condition where you are, just sit in a relaxed stage, and you will feel the difference just after this meditation. I'm telling you, just feel relaxed, sit in a comfortable position, and keep your spine erect, straight, held your head high, close your eyes, and just concentrate on your breathing. Just breathe with me. Just erect your spine, close your eyes, relax your body, and just breathe with me. Focus on your breath. Don't try to regulate them. Just breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Peace in, stress out. Peace in, stress out. Breathe in, breathe out. Love in, fear out. Love in, fear out. Peace in, stress out. Peace in, stress out. Love in, fear out. Breathe in, breathe out. And just focus on your breath for 1 or 2 minutes. Then we'll come back to the normality. Now we can come back to the normal position and you can share your experiences with me. Thank you very much.
Yes, it was nice, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this well-researched session. Only the explained that various nouns such as and happiness.
There is some problem,
Also,
Harish. Your voice
that
is not
this
clear.
now I'm audible.
Yes.
Hello, audible.
Yeah.
Okay,
Little bit.
ma'am, for yes, yes, okay, okay.
Okay. Okay.
For this
No.
well-researched session, for yes. Now I hope that I'm audible. Hello.
Yeah.
And earlier meditation, they are, we are sure that we are going to get more and various answers that how this meditation increase the immunity, happiness, and concurrently the Ministry of Ayush has also recommended that we should practice meditation, and meditation is not praying and worship. It's a very secular exercise and it is a kind of exercise. So anyone can do at
Yeah.
any places. So I hope that this I would like to invite your respected dean sir to share his how is doing it and legal education even in the outbreak of dean sir, your mic is muted.
Okay.
Dean sir was having one meeting as well with the Honorable Vice
Okay.
Chancellor.
So, Harish, we can take the question and answer.
Okay. So questions and ma'am will answer. The one question, ma'am, from Ananya Gupta, ma'am, that
Okay.
should be meditate at the same time and place every day.
This is not necessary, Ananya, but if they suppose if you are making a routine that it will help you to give the good result. So it depends upon your whether you are having a time or not for the particular reason. But it's better that you should follow a proper schedule, a proper routine, and if it's not possible, then you can meditate any time in irregular manner. But every time when you are meditating, it is helping you. That's for sure.
Yes. That prayer and performing namaz different from meditation. Do we have to practice it separately?
No, see, as I already told that meditation is not related to any religious practice. So I can't comment on that. It's up to you. If you feel peace there, then you can do it. But meditation is like you are looking inside of you. You are with yourself. You are looking at your thoughts. You are sitting with yourself. There is no other person or no other things in your mind. So it's up to you that whether you feel comfortable uh, uh, or by offering namas, or it is just a practice to improve your thoughts or for your better mental health, that you should take a separate time for the meditation.
One more question, ma'am, is
Mm.
just that what do I do if I can't stop thinking while I'm meditating? And the second
Mhm.
follow-up question is that can meditation really change our entire outlook on things? I have seen so many students super stressed lately due to the
Mhm.
doing college assignments and most of the time sitting near the laptop or mobile, and it's been really affecting them. Will meditation help them?
Very good question, Pratyush. And see, that first thing, your first question, that what do I do if I can't stop thinking while I'm meditating? Don't do anything. Let the thoughts come. Gradually, these thoughts will disappear from your mind. Have you ever seen? Have you ever tried to do any physical exercise? While you are doing the physical exercise, first few days your body is aching, and after that you feel comfortable. The same with your mind, because you don't meditate. So in meditation you are going to control your mind, and when you are controlling your mind, that it will react and there will be more thoughts. But don't worry about them. Let them come. Gradually these thoughts will disappear, and you will uh, 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 you will be able to focus more on your mind. Second question is, can meditation really change
Yes.
our entire outlook or on things? Definitely it changes. Now I'm giving you an example. Suppose uh, your mode of study, like during exam, you are just on your toes, and in the regular study is the different manner. And when you are stressed, you are just thinking about that particular aspect. And when you are in the relaxed stage, you are thinking beyond that aspect also. So it's going to change your outlook for the things, and it will definitely help the people who are worried about their studies and they are worried about the assignments, etc. It will help them. Definitely it will help them. Just try it. It is going to help you, surely.
Was one more question, ma'am, from Mansi Jain.
Mm.
That ma'am, that should we meditate the same meditation?
Mhm.
should be
Should we meditate?
meditation throughout that much.
Same meditation.
Meditation out. Yes, I think yes.
Oh yes, you can. Yeah, this is that anything.
And
Suppose if you are if you are comfortable by meditation, now to the like see, we are living in a time where the information is in on our fingertips. So you can now there are hundreds of thousands of meditations on online. You can download any of the thing. You can download the relaxing music and just sit with yourself, because if you are not sitting, if you cannot sit with yourself alone, then how will you expect the people they will enjoy your company? Just enjoy your company. Just sit with yourself for 5 or 10 minutes daily, because now you are paying attention on yourself. When you are paying attention on yourself, then the other people definitely will pay attention on the on you, and you will feel happy.
yes, ma'am. One more question that from Sandeep Kumar Singh. What is brain coherence? How it affects our body?
Brain coherence means they see when like we can see our brain is overworking in today's position. Like suppose if there are some people who are attending this webinar, they must have some thoughts in their mind that they have to do some work, and then this work, then this work. So now when we are sitting in at this time, then our brain is working, and there are number of thoughts are there. So we can't concentrate on a particular thing when our thoughts are going on and an autopilot mode. That means that we can't control our thoughts, and we are receiving different thoughts again and again. So that is called incoherent brain. And when the brain is incoherent, then you can see we are having a body and brain is on the top. So who is taking control of the body? Obviously brain is taking control of the body, and brain is sending signal to the each and every part of the body, to every organ of the body. And now when the brain is incoherent in itself, when you are in an institution and the leader is not capable, the leader is incoherent in itself, then how can he lead the team? The same is with the brain. When the brain is incoherent, then it sends incoherent signals to the different organs. Now the heart is confused. What? Because heart is unable to receive the proper signal from the brain. So it is confused what to do. Then the stomach is confused, nervous system is confused, and all the organs in the body are confused. They are working in their incoherent manner. So the incoherent brain causes incoherent organs, and this incoherence of the incoherence of the brain and the different organs of the body is leading to the disease.
Okay,
And
ma'am. One more
definitely
question, ma'am. That
meditation helps to coherent. Yes.
one last question, ma'am. That Akshat Das is asking that meditation will help me when we are staying in our house in one place. In this situation, we don't have any option to go anywhere. I think there is no need to go for
Yes, definitely. There is no
meditation.
need to go here. You can sit in your room and you can do meditate.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so now we can conclude this.
Thank you so much, Harish.
So thank you all friends and colleagues for attending this, and thank you, my friend, for this well-researched and very practical workshop. Basically, we can say. So we will have one more when the campus will open. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.